How to knit the Icelandic bind-off. Hi everyone, Norman here. Today I want to show you a lovely, very stretchy bind-off alternative. The so-called Icelandic bind-off. It's super fast and relatively simple to knit, and the edge looks especially great for garter stitch. Let's show you how to knit it. Start the Icelandic bind-off by knitting one stitch as normal. And now you need to slip that stitch back to the left needle, point to point, so purlwise. Keep the needle inside of the stitch. Now you need to enter that second stitch here knitwise, so the regular way, but with another stitch here in front. So you enter it knitwise, but don't get out here towards the back. Instead, go all the way around and bypass the stitch that you slipped and get out here towards the front, well, front and back. Wrap the yarn around the needle counterclockwise, pull through, and again you ignore this loop here. You ignore it and you pull it here towards the front, drop the stitches, and there is your first Icelandic bind-off stitch. Let's do that one more time. So you slip back point to point, you enter the next stitch knitwise, but go all the way around, and then you knit a stitch and pull through one more time. So slip back point to point, get into the next stitch knitwise, go all the way around and bypass the stitch you slipped, wrap counterclockwise and pull through only the second stitch. Let's do that a couple of more times in slow motion. Some people will also slip the stitch back twisted, so not point to point but twisted like this, and then they re-enter and knit the stitch the way we did so far. Again, slip, twisted, re-enter and knit like as before. One more time, slip, twisted, re-enter and knit the stitch. So I prepared two little swatches here, and for the top swatch, so this swatch here I slipped purlwise, and for this swatch I slipped knitwise. And as you can see, the differences are minor at best, and that's because the result will be exactly mirror inverted. So let me show you what this means. So at the base of all bind-off stitches you will find a little loop. That's the stitch we slipped. So there's a little loop you can pull here on the back and on the front. It's a little loop. And if you slip purlwise, the yarn will exit this loop here towards the next stitch, towards the top. So if I pull here on this loop, see, the yarn exits the loop here towards the back and goes up. For the other swatch, it's exactly the other way around. So here we have the little loop here, and it exits the yarn here towards the top. So this yarn here is connected to this part of the leg, but otherwise the results will be exactly the same. They're just mirror inverted. Since I personally don't see any meaningful difference, I stick to slipping purlwise because it's, well, one smooth motion, and you don't constantly need to re-enter those stitches, but again, do whatever you feel works best for you, and maybe with your knitting style and your tension, one version looks better than the other. Now, how stretchy is the Icelandic bind-off? Well, I prepared two little swatches and I have knitted across 16 stitches and 12 rows in both cases, and both are in garter stitch. I bound off this swatch here using the standard bind-off, and I'll try to stretch this as far as possible. Secure this with a pin, and here I did the Icelandic binder. Well, we actually did this together, and I'll try to stretch this as far as possible as well. So it's not that much stretchier, but I would say around 10% stretchier than the regular bind-off. Of course, you can also use a bigger needle size and knit a little bit looser and get even more stretch out of this bind-off. Anyway, that's how to knit the Icelandic bind-off. Comment below if you have any questions. Don't forget to subscribe, and happy knitting!